Hello and welcome to another quick maths tutorial. Today I'll be explaining how to complete the square and its important uses. Okay, so we've looked at factorization and using the formula for solving quadratics, and there's one final method I wanted to show you. This is called completing the square, and as well as being able to solve quadratics like we had before when equal to 0, it's got other uses as well, which I'll talk about later. But first, I'm going to give you the equation x squared minus ax so plus 9. Okay, so that'll be a quadratic equation. Just going to put that equal to 0. Okay, just so we can solve it later. But at the minute, we're going to complete the square, and to do that, what we need to do is we're going to put it in one bracket that is squared. So the whole thing is squared. So it's like before with factorization, put it in two brackets, except these brackets will be identical as they've been times together. So we can just write it as one bracket squared. And to get our first term, x squared, we are going to need an x in each bracket. So an x in the bracket we are talking about. So I open that and put an x there. There we go. And the second term in the bracket is actually our middle term here, minus ax, half. So I'm just going to put a little divide by 2 there. Remember, the positive or negativity of this term is important, so it's minus ax, so we get minus 4. We're going to close that bracket and just make it squared. And we're going to keep our constant there on the end. You might have noticed already that this isn't actually equal to that. You know, not yet, anyway. To do that, what I need to do is realise what I've actually created here. If I were to expand this bracket, I get x squared, so we need that, x times minus 4 and x times minus 4 again, we can just do that, we get minus ax, lovely, we want that, and we have the plus 9 at the end, which is exactly what we want here, except there's one more term we actually get from expanding this bracket, and that is our minus 4 squared, which gives us positive 16. That's 16 more than what we want, so just to make this equal to the equation I gave you there, I'm going to just put minus 16, which gives us negative 7. Right, that gives us negative 7 at the end. Right, so okay, so x minus 4 all squared minus 7 is equal to 0 in that case, and it's the same equation we got there. And basically, we could solve this. We could solve this as a equation, and I'm going to add 7 to both sides. So we have x minus 4 squared is equal to 7. Square root both sides, and we get x minus 4 is equal to positive or minus 7. I'm going to stress that there is two answers to the square root of 7. It could be minus 7 or plus 7. And they will be our two answers to quadratics. As you see, we've got two answers before when solving these. And so we can say x is equal to 4 plus or minus root 7. So there are roots of our graph. But as I said, complete the square can give us more than just a root. So if I move on to the next page, page 2, I'm going to pick a red pen here. There's one more thing we can do here. So if I write out what we got x minus 4 squared minus 7 is equal to 0. So that's our completed square. Now, as you know, if we were to draw a parabola, we realise it's going to cross the roots roughly about here and about here on our graph. But we wouldn't be able to sketch our parabola here, our x squared function, because there's one more value we need to know, and that's the turning point, because parabolas are n or u shaped, and there is a point on it where it decides to change direction, and it'll be somewhere between these two roots. And to figure that out, we can get it out from completing the square. And what we do is we, for the coordinate of this point, we take this outside of the bracket as our y. So if I just draw some coordinates, -7 would be our y, and we pick this here, but we'd invert it, or times by -1. Okay. Alright, so we get +4 there, and that is the coordinate of the turning point of our graph. So it'd be 4 and -7 down. It'd be about here. And so we get a graph looking a lot like this. Okay, obviously a lot neater than that, but it is a rough sketch. And there we go. So that's what you can do by completing the square. Thanks for watching this Quick Maths tutorial.